Hi all. Let me see how many of you join in. First, please tell me whether the audio video is going on well enough. Right, I would like to know that because I'm doing it on airplane mode. All right. I'm sorry, I'm a little earlier today. Sorry, I'm a little earlier today. Okay. Yeah, 5 of you have joined in now. All right. So, thank you for joining in. All those who have. Wait, just give me a minute. Yeah. Okay, hi Alan Manoj. Please tell me whether the audio video is clear and whether there is any kind of a lag or something, right, before I begin. Hi Sheetal Dagar, thanks for joining in. Okay, I'm sorry for coming in a little earlier today because I wanted to answer many more questions from your side, right? So thank you both of you for joining in. Let's see, let us have a few more joining in and then we'll begin with the session, right? Begin with what I planned for you guys. All right? Yeah. So how are you all doing? All right, so I think it will take some time because I said 7 o'clock. So I think all of you will join me at 7 only. So let's start off with what is the theme for this live session, and that is time management. Something so critical for grade 11 students specifically, I'd say, because these 2 years, 11th and 12th standard, will lay the foundation for your careers ahead. So the question that comes up is, as you would have seen in the poster as well that I put up in the thumbnail, that so many things are there. In 11th standard, you have to focus on your studies, on your career, on your, on your entrance tests, so many other things that you need to focus on as you are moving ahead. So, how to manage all these things effectively, that is what we are going to be discussing today. And this we would be discussing by considering a principle which I have created, which is called as the time principle. So, this has 4 parts, TIME, and we look at each one of these parts one by one, right? Let's start off with T, which stands for trying and testing. And why do I give emphasis, why do I lay emphasis on trying and testing? Because this is the period, 11th and 12th standard, this is the period when you can actually try and test new things. So what you can do is basically try starting off something of your own. Create a website, write blogs, or perhaps intern with a company. If you do these things, basically it gives you first-hand exposure as to what work life is exactly. Hi Rohan Fatke, thank you for joining in. So it gives you first-hand, exposure as to what exactly work is all about. So that's why T stands for trying and testing. And this is the best opportunity for you to do so, because even if you perhaps fail, or even if you experience any sort of failure, you have your parents to back you up, and simultaneously you have opportunities to move ahead and further in life as well. So Alan Manoj is saying the video frame is low. I'm sorry, I started this off on airplane mode. I just tried something new today, but if it's I think it will become all right as we move ahead, right? Okay, so that's about it. That's about T. Now let's move on to I. I stands for something very important. It stands for introspection. Now, why do I say 11th and 12th mein introspection is very important? It is important because whatever you do, all these tasks that you will perform in these next 2 years, you must align them to what you wish to do in the future. And if that alignment is clear, if you are able to focus on that one goal of yours and are able to align your actions towards that, then it will help you in achieving your goals later on in life as well. So what is important is that after every few hours, you must look down, and first of all, when you start off your day, you must create a few targets for yourself, set a few targets for yourself, and then later on, you must check that have I been able to achieve those targets, right? So perhaps before you eat your lunch, then you must say that, okay, someone is saying lagging too much. Let me see if I can do something. Wait. All right. I'm trying my best. I don't know why it's lagging today. Usually it does not, but today it's lagging a bit. Even I can see that. But I think it will become alright over a period of time. I started off on airplane mode. Perhaps that's the reason why it's happening. So let me see. It's not happening. It's fine, no issues. So I was talking about I, which stands for introspection. So you must take out time for introspecting on your actions as you move forward. That's about I. Then we come to M, something that you all would be thinking about right now. That's marks, right? Why am I putting that at number 3? It's because yes, marks is important, but I would say trying out new things and actually experiencing more, getting exposure is much more important than marks. Marks is important, no doubt, for getting admission into a good college, for creating an identity for yourself. Marks is important, but more than that, having good exposure is also equally essential. So that is why M stands for marks, and finally E stands for exercise as well as entertainment. Now, why am I putting that at the end? Now, remember, this is it's not necessarily you need to follow it serially or how it is given. Each one of these should be followed equally and given equal importance in your timetable. So E stands for exercise and entertainment, and which is also an important part, but you must know how much time you must give for these. Exercise is of course extremely important. Entertainment, like few of you like playing games, or few of you like playing video games or watching something on YouTube, it's perfectly fine. You must do that, but you must know how much time to spend while doing those activities, while performing those activities. All right. So Juby Jerry is asking, is it okay to ask how much you scored in 11th? I scored around 89%, right? 11th में थोड़ा नीचे जाता है of course, but it's like trying to understand what your 12th standard will be like and how much more you need to work, how much hard you need to work. So that's about my score in 11th standard. But I would like to first of all see, since it's 7 right now, right? I hope you have all got the time principle and I hope you've understood it. Each of these 4 things need to be followed in your life, given equal importance, right? Now, I would like to answer those questions that I had received beforehand. So, I had received a few questions, 9 questions to be precise. Yesterday itself, I put up a post and I received 9 questions, and I'd like to give priority to these questions before I go on to the questions in the chats, right? So, let's start off with the first one that was asked by unknown girl. So, hey bro, I've taken PCB in 11th as I want to become a doctor, but I'm very nervous as science is a very difficult subject. So, give me a perfect timetable for science. Now, first of all, something common that I found in all the questions is one thing that most of you are planning to take up medical, and second thing that most of you are asking for a timetable. And one more thing added to that is that most of you are asking which reference book should I use. Now, first of all, if you are planning to take up medical, you must be prepared to spend the next 10 to 15 years of your life studying, and it is not easy, of course, but if you have interest in it, if you have an inclination towards that, go ahead with it. So you must have a long-term plan as well if you are planning to take up medical, right? It's not necessary that if you have, just because you have taken science, you have to go for medical or engineering. There are a vast multitude of options from which you can choose from, right? So it's a great world outside. It's a wonderful world outside. A lot of options are available for you. So if you have already decided that you want to take up medical, great, go ahead with it. But just do some research, plan it out, have a long-term plan with you, and that will help you out, right? So if you are nervous for science, perhaps what you need to do is you need to ask yourself, are you interested in science? That's the reason you have taken science, or have you just gotten into science because of pressure from society or because a few of your friends have joined in? That is a question that unknown girl you need to ask yourself. Hi Simran Jaiswal. So you need to ask yourself whether you're actually inclined towards that. And secondly, for preparing a perfect timetable, you need to look at your schedule. What is your schedule like? How do you like studying in the morning or in the evening? Look at that, consider that, and I will tell you later in the video how you can have, prepare a good timetable for preparing for your NEET exam. That's NEET UG, right? Hi Mahika Kashyap, I'll answer your question because you have joined in. I'll answer your question. Mahika Kashyap has, I hope unknown girl, I've answered your question, but now I'll move on to Mahika Kashyap. Hi, I need some tips on how to study in 11th, which includes how much time should one give? Is it overrated, or is it really true that we have to study a lot more than 10th? A lot of questions you've asked, but I would like to start off with how much time, how to study in 11th. So how much time you must give? You must ensure that first of all, the subjects you have chosen are according to your interest, and secondly, which subject you need to give more time to. Perhaps in 7 days, give 2 days to that subject, right? And don't study for more than 4 hours in a day. It's enough. 4 hours बहुत होता है. ज्यादा पढ़ाई मत करो. लेकिन अगर आप कोचिंग वगैरह चाहे तो आकर आपको शायद कम टाइम मिले. डोंट स्ट्रेस योरसेल्फ और ज्यादा स्ट्रेन्यूस मत बनाओ अपने टाइम टेबल को. नाउ see, look, I have not taken up science, so I don't know what kind of syllabus you have, or all I know is it is a little difficult. So is it overrated or not? It is not overrated. 11th is more difficult than 10th standard, but remember, 11th is wonderful because you are getting to choose what you love to do, right? So you are getting that option. So 11th is wonderful that way. But yes, it is much more difficult than what you had in 10th standard. Question थोड़ा vast रहेगा, थोड़ा और depth में रहेगा. So that is why Mahika Kashyap, I will tell you that you must keep yourself aware what is happening around the world. क्या events हो रहे हैं, या awareness आप में होना और जरूरी है. So that is why it is the truth that yes, 11th is much more harder than 10th standard. But if you have an interest and inclination towards the subjects that you have chosen, I think you are in for performing extremely well. Then should we go for other publications other than NCERT and coaching modules? If yes, then which publications? Now for your for NEET, I would suggest that stick to NCERT because अगर ऑफिशियल पोर्शन देखें तो NCERT है, but there are other reference books also which you can look online. बहुत सारे reference books हैं. Ask some previous NEET aspirants and the ones who have given the exams as well. You ask them and you'll have a better idea, right? I will also suggest for NEET. For all those who are going to appear for NEET, you can refer to this YouTube channel called examfear.com. It's also a website. It's a wonderful website, and if you are already aware about it, if you have already used it for 10th standard exam, I used it myself for my 10th standard science. It helped me a lot. और वहाँ पे NEET और JEE का भी के भी वीडियोस बनते हैं, तो you can visit that website. Khan Academy is also one website जहाँ पे SAT की भी तैयारी, free preparation for SAT is also available. So that is of course one wonderful aspect of examfear.com and Khan Academy. These two are two websites that you could use for your studies, right? So I'm not sure about which publications you must go for, but stick to NCERT. NCERT you should be thorough with it and you should understand it in depth, right? Then should one go for non-attending schools? Now I didn't get your question here, Mahika. Non-attending schools in the sense, do you not want to go to school? Do you want to instead go to a college? Are you referring to that? Or are you referring to missing school out and studying at home, skipping a few days in school? So just clarify that before I answer this question. But you are a medical aspirant and PCB student, okay? But no, okay, what I want to know exactly what your question is like so that I can answer it appropriately. You mean to say, I meant flying schools. I didn't, can you just elaborate on that? I've never heard that phrase before, flying schools. So you can just elaborate on that, right? Okay, so that's about it, Mahika Kashyap. I have tried to answer your questions and just confirm on that flying school before I come to. I think you are referring to that does not require regular attendance. I get your point. Okay, so now that depends on the proximity factor as well. So I chose a school for the fact that of course it's closer to my house. But if you feel that there is a great distance between your school and your home and you're spending a lot of time wasting नहीं बोलूंगा, स्कूल में जाकर productive ही होता है, लेकिन अगर time ज़्यादा जा रहा है तो then perhaps you can think about it. But otherwise schools में कोई problem नहीं है. You can always go there. It provides you 2 extra years to actually to actually study in a school like environment. There is no problem. Flying schools or junior colleges, what we call, they are not a problem at all. वहाँ पे भी जाकर regular attendance नहीं है. If you really are aspiring to do something, if you want more time with you, then flying schools will be a good option. But otherwise schools are not that bad, okay? If your future plan is such that you require more time in 11th and 12th standard, then you can of course try out flying schools as well. But otherwise going for normal day boarding schools is not a problem. Okay, let me come to the next one. Sahil Salwan, he's the one who's asked, in 11th I took science, non-med, how will I study comfortably with fulfilling time accordingly to achieve good marks? Okay, now you have taken science without medical. So now you can refer to what I said before in the video. I had said about the time factor. So try and fit in time for each subject equally. And the subjects that 5 दिन है, 5 सब्जेक्ट हैं, 5 एक दिन रख सकते हो, और जिन सब्जेक्ट में आपको थोड़ी और मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी सैटरडे और संडे को, आप वो पढ़ सकते हो. That's about it, Sahil. All right. Which guidebooks to be used for commerce? Both Mushira Ferdin and Rachit Ladda have asked this question. Look, For 11th standard commerce, I am not aware about the guidebooks that you must follow, but NCRT should be, your Bible. You should be thorough with NCRT. Guidebooks, I would not recommend you to go for guidebooks because ultimately जो है textbook से आता है. I think your guidebooks should be the newspaper. न्यूज़पेपर का जो इकोनॉमी सेक्शन है कॉमर्स स्टूडेंट्स एंड नॉट ओनली फॉर कॉमर्स एज अ ह्यूमैनिटी स्टूडेंट एंड एज साइंस स्टूडेंट एज वेल यू मस्ट बी regularly reading the newspaper, and for commerce the economy section is going to be very helpful, so read the newspaper regularly. That should be your guidebook and that should be a reference book for commerce. Otherwise, what are the other publications? I'm not very sure about that because I myself did not take up commerce in 11th standard, right? All right, so that's why I think newspaper पढ़ा करो and economy section जो है business section जो है उसको पढ़ा करो. That will help you out in commerce. Okay, Khushi, hey, I'm taking PCB plus computers. Do you think computers is a good choice compared to Hindi? Look, this is again according to your interest. Are you really interested, inclined towards languages, especially Hindi? Then go for it. Go for Hindi, no problem. And if you're planning to do to major in Hindi later on, well, it's a wonderful subject. It has a very vast literature. If you're planning to major in Hindi or in Sanskrit, a very vast and beautiful literature. So don't hesitate while taking up Hindi. There's no problem, right? Computers is of course a good subject if you're planning to do software engineering or something on those lines later on. Computers of course is always available, but if you're inclined towards a subject like Hindi, then very well go ahead with it, right? Don't worry at all. Harshit Juneja, I just moved to class 11 and got 92%. Congratulations. Can you give me some tips regarding timetable? I just mentioned that before. Just turn back and see what I said about the time factor. If you are able to manage all these TIME, all these factors effectively, then you'll be able to score well also, and you'll be able to manage all these things in your life effectively, and will be able to come out of 12th standard as a much more enhanced and an individual who has a vision in life, right? All right, I think I've answered all those questions that had come up. Rubik's Cube has asked, could you please explain the English core course too? I'd like to look at Rubik's Cube. I'd like to look at the questions that have been asked in the chats first, and then I'll of course come to your this thing as well, your questions as well, right? All right. Okay, Yash Agarwal, by which stream have you taken? I have opted for humanities in class 11th. All right, so that's about my stream. Okay. Now for the English core course, see, you have two books. You have one book which is the Hornbill book, and the other one is the Snapshots book, and both have interesting chapters. What you need to do in your English core course is basically क्या हो जाता है कि आपके अदर जो 4 मेन सब्जेक्ट्स हैं उन पे आप ज्यादा एम्फोसिस देते हैं और फिर इंग्लिश के लिए जो एम्फोसिस चाहिए वो छूट जाती है. तो व्हाट यू नीड टू बेसिकली अंडरस्टैंड इट कि इंग्लिश के लिए यू डोंट नीड टू गिव टू मच ऑफ टाइम, but you need to be thorough with your creative writing, because उसमें क्या होता है कि you have various creative writing, and creative writing के लिए you have various rules and regulations to follow, so you have to be thorough with that. थोड़ा सा ड्राई लग सकता है आपको, but otherwise it's an interesting syllabus, and if you are adept with reading, if you like reading, if you are into the habit of reading, then it would be very very exciting for you. So English core course is interesting, and you must give at least हफ्ते में एक बार just go and read the textbook once, and also go through your creative writing skills जो है उसके लिए just go through it once, right? Okay. All right, so Yash Agarwal, how to speak English like you confidently. Even I am trying to work on that, right? It's not like, I have been able to speak confidently because of my association with Toastmasters International. Otherwise, what's your identity like? I like speaking like this in front of the camera. For you, it might be something else. So everyone has their own strengths, is what I believe, right? So that is why it's fine. If I'm able to speak confidently, it's great. Thank you for the compliment. Okay. Can you answer my question? I'm finding hard to know which college is best. Juvi Jerry, sorry I missed your question, Juvi. Which college is the best? What did you did? I didn't get your question. Now I am yet to opt for a college here. I'm still in 12th standard, so next year I'm targeting Delhi University. But let me see how it goes. Depending on my grades, depending on my marks, and depending on the cutoff as well, I will need to choose accordingly, right? All right. So. Alan Manoj, I took science. Great. So now I'll also provide you with a plan like for NEET. Say you're preparing for your NEET UG. For that, you basically have four subjects, that is zoology, botany, physics, and chemistry. How to balance this portion with your school portion? Now, what you can do is basically give Saturday and Sunday. Those are 2 days that you have a lot of time. उन दिनों में अगर आप बैठकर अपना साइंस का अपना जो नीट का प्रिपरेशन है वो कर सकते हो तो अच्छा रहेगा. और मंडे टू फ्राइडे अपने स्कूल की प्रिपरेशन, बिकॉज मंडे टू फ्राइडे ऑल्सो अटेंडिंग योर स्कूल, राइट? सो मंडे टू फ्राइडे यू कैन प्रिपेयर फॉर योर, you can study your school syllabus, and Saturday and Sunday you can give time to your this NEET syllabus. That is the way you can perhaps go about it, right? All right, if you have any more questions, just put it in, because we are having only one person watching right now. So if we have any more questions, I'll be ready to answer them. And I've also given my Twitter handle on top, so you can always ask me questions out there. You can ask me questions on my Instagram account as well, on personal chats, that is anirudh.naveen.0305. So there also I'll be ready to answer your questions. I'll be always there to help you out. Okay, so that's about asking. Okay, I've taken commerce plus math. Is it good or not? Tashu Jaiswal is asking. It's good. I mean, depending on what you wish to do in the future. So it's a good choice. You opted for commerce plus math. It is good depending on what you're planning for the future. So and your interest as well. So if you are interested in mathematics, if you have been really into it, of course you have been studying mathematics till 10th standard. But if you are really inclined towards it, then go ahead with it, right? And remember, commerce mein, it's not all about accountancy or only it's not necessarily you have to become a CA by taking commerce. There are a whole number of options available out there as well. And I'm disclosing something right now. I will be starting a series where I'll be telling you more about these careers that perhaps you may not even have heard of, right? So I'll be starting off a series a little later, but that will be, of course, not now, through a time later, but I'll start that off a little later, right? All right, if I have any more questions, I'll be ready to answer them. Okay, how many of you saw the video which I had put up yesterday on the IPL my 11, right? So if you have seen that video, I have provided a comprehensive like कौन मेरे टीम में है और क्यों भी है, because I'm sure many of you, one person was saying कि KL Rahul की जगह I should have picked Shikhar Dhawan, and why I picked KL Rahul was because of his consistency right through the season. Yes, he did not win matches for Kings XI Punjab as such, but his consistency made me pick him over Shikhar Dhawan. Shikhar Dhawan initially was a little inconsistent, but as Delhi Capitals have progressed, he has also got consistency. That's about my 11 that I picked yesterday, and I put it up. All right, so I think I should end this live stream now, because कोई और questions आ नहीं रहे हैं. We have only 2 people joining in. So thank you all those who joined in, and I'll be conducting live sessions pretty regularly now. Whenever I do so, I will notify you all as well, so that you are aware about it beforehand. All right, so thanks for joining in, Mahika and Yash and Tashu Jaiswal. Right.